Welcome, and thank you for joining this short presentation on employment and the parent's role for their adult children with disabilities. This is a timely presentation as employer complaints about those entering the workforce are on the rise, with recent college graduates and millennials as the focal point. As shown here, employers are finding that those who recently graduated college are lacking critical skills needed to be successful in the workplace. The complaint about the millennials is that they come from environments where their parents are overly involved in their lives, whether that be in school, sports, extracurricular activities, or other venues, including employment. This over-involvement can also hold true for parents with adult children with disabilities as it pertains to helping them find a job. FedCap is an 80-year-old nonprofit agency that has decades of experience in helping people with disabilities find employment. So we thought we'd share some information about what employers will tolerate and where parents do fit into the employment equation. The Office of Disability Policy's website has tips on how parents can help their children with disabilities get on the path to employment. Included in those tips are promote education, encourage work-based learning experiences, set goals, develop social skills, and be open to new ideas. All wonderful tips. Parents play an especially important role in assisting youth and adults with disabilities to build successful, satisfying careers. Viewed together, parents and their children essentially form a team. The youth is the player in the game and the parent is the coach. In the early years of the team, the coach is more directly involved in making day-to-day decisions about how the youth will prepare themselves for the game. For instance, in the early school years, parents in most cases attend IEP meetings and carry out discussions with school personnel with little involvement on the part of their children. However, as a child ages and matures, and to the extent possible, parents can and should begin to step back and let the child take the reins with assistance from the coach. Ideally, by the time a child leaves secondary school, he or she should have as much control of their life as possible with coaching support from the parents. Another way to view the parent-child relationship is similar to two parties entering a contract. The youth with the disability agrees to take on the responsibilities of doing his or her best to accomplish whatever is necessary to succeed in school, training, or other activities, including goal setting and planning for the future. The parents, on the other hand, agree to assist and support the youth whenever and however needed. Notice the words assist and support, not do. The difficulty for most families in developing such a relationship is the balance between empowering, protecting, and overprotecting. Parents love their children, and rightly or wrongly, when a child with a disability is involved, it's easy for parents to communicate low expectations to their child by being overprotective and by doing for them instead of helping them do for themselves. Let's explore this further from an employment lens, as parental involvement has been a growing issue for employers, particularly as it pertains to employing people with disabilities. Harold Weinstein, PhD, is an organizational psychologist who consults with companies regarding their hiring practices, and he said this: "If I'm the employer, I don't want, and in fact I resent, parents who intervene on the employee's behalf. It is inappropriate, intrusive, and none of their business. My relationship is with their offspring, not with them. From a consultant's point of view, I would tell any employer who runs up against such an intrusive parent to say, thank you very much for your interest. We appreciate your concern, but frankly, our relationship is with your child." He adds that the parents may think they're acting in the best interest of their children, but their meddling doesn't do anyone any good. By the time the child completes his or her education and enters the workforce, it's time for a parent to serve as a coach or a mentor, rather than an agent or a savior. To add to this intrusion is also confusion, particularly if the initial employer contact was done by a job developer like the ones employed by FedCap. Their job is to establish relationships with employers to open up opportunities for the people they are supporting based on the skills, abilities, and interest of each person served. In this instance, the relationship is between the job developer, the employer, and the person wanting to be hired. It is unexpected and confusing for an employer when a parent, family member, or even the vocational rehabilitation counselor inserts themselves into this relationship. In 2010, an entity called Roads to Independence hosted an employer focus group to get at the hiring practices for employing people with disabilities. Employers large and small were present, and the key findings from this session were these. Employers don't care if someone has a disability or not. They care if they can do the job. Employers want to deal with the employee, not a third party. And in fact, to insert a third party into the employment equation after hiring has legal implications for the company. And finally, employers shun having mom or a guardian call in for an adult employee, challenge performance reviews, or negotiate on the employee's behalf, whether they have a disability or not. And yes, these types of activities occur all too often. So if you want to help and support the person with a disability obtain and maintain employment, here's what you can do. First, set high expectations and coach from the sidelines. Encourage the job seeker to practice what they would say in an interview, how to highlight their gifts and talents, and why they're the best candidate for the job. Despite how difficult it may be, do not contact the employer on their behalf, not before, during, nor after the employment process is complete. If the person with the disability is working with an agency or a job developer who is negotiating employment on their behalf, stay out of it unless invited into it. It only causes confusion and makes it appear as if the person with the disability needs an entourage around them to be successful. And finding a job is a job in and of itself. Be a cheerleader and a champion to keep spirits up when the job journey seems just a little long. So there's definitely a role for parents and family members to play in the employment process. It's just not with the employer.